Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and it's time for some Brothers War official spoilers! Now there were a couple spoiled in the past, so if you want, go check out the rest of my videos on it. Melda's back and it's on a Planeswalker, so if you missed that, you might want to rewind the tape. But to start us off, here's a spoiler. This was the World Championship standard metagame distribution. That is a couple points worse than the Eldrazi Winter. It's really close. So the real spoiler is that WotC is hoping that the release of all of these Brothers War cards do anything to stop that stupid deck. Personally, I'm sick of seeing it on Arena. So will we see some high-powered cards? My thinking is no. I think that they got the message about 1.5 to 2 years before the set was finished that they need to bring Standard back down to a reasonable power level. New Capenna and Dominaria United were very low-powered sets with a very small number of exceptions. So this is going to go one way or another. Let's look at splitting the Power Stone. They touched it, some weird geometry crap happened, it had split in half, and then they turned it into the movie Cube 2 Hypercube. That is the official version of the lore. So it's a 3-cost blue sorcery, and as an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice an artifact. Create 2 tapped Power Stone tokens. If the sacrificed artifact was legendary, draw a card. So the big reveal, what is a Power Stone? So these tokens are artifacts with tap, add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. This mana can't be spent to cast a non-artifact spell. And if you're thinking, well, that's needlessly a double negative, I believe what they're saying is that you can spend it to activate activated abilities, because those aren't spells, and really anything else that's not a spell, but if it is a spell, it has to be an artifact. And that's kind of cool, because it powers stuff on the battlefield, or it is the power source or brings out or whatever a giant artifact robot thing. That's kind of cool, and it's going to be very important for draft, I would think. Next up, oh my gosh, it's Gix, Yawgmoth Praetor. Well, I know they were telling the story in like 3 parts or 3 eras or something, so this kind of makes sense. So it's a 3-cost double black 3/3 legendary creature for Phyrexian Praetor, of course, and whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may pay 1 life. If they do, they draw a card. Did I mention a couple hundred times in the past? I feel like I did. That standard is basically just a commander set. It's basically just Commander Horizons or Commander Legends. A couple months ago, they actually just came out and blatantly admitted it. So yeah, it's not solely multiplayer. I guess you could read it as in like a normal 2-person duel. Whenever one of your creatures deals combat damage to your opponent, you may pay 1 life. If you do, draw a card. That is overwhelmingly, stupidly overpowered. And black, they just got done banning it. This would have been insane. This would have been completely and utterly mental. And remember, this is with Decayed, Go Wide, Mono, Splash, Red, Black, Rush. Yeah, I already don't like this. This is way too good, and we're already dealing with Sheldred. So then if you pay 7, which you won't, you'll have won the game by then, discard X cards, exile the top X cards of opponent's library, or target opponent's library. You may play lands and cast spells from among the cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. So you lose all of your cards and you play theirs, but you get to play them all for free. It's pretty ballsy. I mean, it is X, so it's not discard your whole hand and then grab 7, because that could just be 0. So it does have to actually be a real number. And once you have 7, how many could really be in your hand? So this would have been interesting if it wasn't for the first part that completely ruins it. Except it would be fine if it costs 4. Well, more acceptable. 5 and it would have been perfectly acceptable. We've already got Sheldred. Somebody does not need this on their turn 3, my turn 2. Okay, that's ridiculous. So next up, oh god, it's already Teferi. Okay, Temporal Pilgrim. When are they just going to do Teferi, comma, I hope he dies? Menace to Society. In fact, take one from Ugly Kid Joe. Have him have a whole episode about like all this crazy crap he's done to screw with the multiverse and Dominaria and that one whole province he made disappear for like 100 years, oops. And have him become an alcoholic and then put Teferi, Menace to Sobriety. Okay, so we know that he has a never before seen way of gaining loyalty, I believe is what Mark said. Let's just rip the band-aid off. I haven't read this yet. Okay, 5 cost blue, 4 loyalty. That usually just indicates this is way too good if that's how they crippled him. Whenever you draw a card, I want to die. Whenever you draw a freaking card, you blue playing control-a-thon dickbag, put a loyalty counter on Teferi Temporal Pilgrim, and look very closely at your opponent's fist because it's about to come at your face. Okay, that's what it really says if you read between the lines. 0, draw a card. Screw you too. -2, create a 2/2 blue spirit creature token with vigilance, and whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. This is the most broken control and is it spell spamming pseudo storm crap that I've seen since cards that literally have storm printed right on them. This is a disgrace to the game. This is prowess if prowess was completely out of control. And you know they don't just print a token for one card. Not usually. So we're going to see those stupid spirits. And because they're spirits and they're on the ground, you already know something about them is going to be overpowered. They only do that when it's already nutty. And well, here it is. This is just going to be all instants. I just got beat by an all instant deck in the Diamond League right before recording this. We already have Arcane Bombardment control. This just goes right into it. This is an absolute outrage and a disgrace to the game right here. I am calling it right now, not being sarcastic at all. They are going to have to ban this. They're going to try to ban Arcane Bombardment first, but they're going to ban this pile of shit eventually, or they're not going to have a game left. This card by itself should have dropped Hasbro's stock price another 10%. This is $1 billion worth of damage in card form right here. Oh, thank God he has a -12. I was just hoping. All right. Target opponent chooses a permanent they control and then returns it to its owner's hand. Then they shuffle each non-land permanent they control into its owner's library. So, an asymmetric cheese stands alone. Wonderful. That is almost to the level of Ingaruk's Wake, and when that was legal, I absolutely wrecked with it. I hate everything about this, and I hope somehow it's a fake that got mixed in with the mix. Let's move on. Scrapwork Cohort. It's a... What the hell is that? Why is that red? Okay, so 4 cost maybe 5/3? I guess? When Scrapwork Cohort enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token because more colors needed to be able to go wide faster. That's what the game needed. Oh my gosh, this set's going to be an absolute catastrophe. Here, little lore leak for you here. The two brothers are actually going to team up in the revised timeline to join forces to try to get anyone to come play Magic again. That is the greater threat to the multiverse right now than each other. So then this says unearth 3, because of course it does. So pay white, return from your graveyard to the battlefield, it gains haste, exile at the beginning of the next end step, or if it would leave the battlefield, unearth only as a sorcery. Unearth was historically kind of messed up. So yeah, why not put it in standard? What's the worst that could go wrong? Next up, Mishra, Excavation Prodigy. It's a 3-cost red 2/1 legendary creature, human artificer with haste. Pay 1, tap and discard a card, draw a card. Whenever you discard 1 or more artifact cards, add 2. Really? Are you serious? 2 red mana in your mana pool. This ability triggers only once each turn. Locking it into just artifacts doesn't mean that this doesn't resemble multiple cards already on the modern ban list. Because it does. Welcome to Amulet Bloom. Everybody meet your new legacy and vintage staple right here. Who knows? There's actually better ways to do that. That's a little hyperbole, but still, this is just crap. Don't give red more mana when they already damaged it with treasures. Just don't do that. Next up, it's Mishra. Oh boy, Tamer of Makfawa. Well, apparently not Tamer of the standard constructed format. So it's a 5-cost 4/4 human artificer, red-black. And permanents you control have ward, sack a permanent. Oh, there's that ability. Okay, so they used it somewhat responsibly so far. So each artifact card in your graveyard has unearth because of course it does. Well, unearth 3, 1+1, or 1 generic, 1 black, 1 red. That's a little steep. I mean, hey, but still. On something that would have a huge unearth cost or none whatsoever, that is pretty stupid. But he's 2 color and he costs 5, so like, whatever. But gee, that like 9/9 looking dragon engine behind him, they know what this card does. They know what they're about. Come on. Next up, oh good, Hercule's back. Master Wizard. Great. I don't recall if he was on a card or not in the past, but I feel like he was, and I feel like it was absolute bullshit. I wonder if this jackass is going to return a bunch of artifacts to hand. Let's find out. So, double blue, 3-cost 2/4 human wizard artificer, or advisor, pardon me. And at the beginning of your end step, if you've cast a non-creature spell this turn, because of course you had, this is going to be the 100% spell set. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library for each card type among non-creature spells you've cast this turn. You may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Oh, he doesn't return a bunch of stuff from the battlefield to hand. Okay, well, I guess he does other things. Cool. Or she. Who knows? It's WotC. Who cares? Well, kind of spaced out in the middle of what this does. It's about 6 lines too much text, so let's just move on. Urza, Prince of Krug. Oh, good. More control colors. Great. No wonder they threw green in as the Druid faction. Well, that's a rumor. I haven't even seen it yet, but Okay, we got a 4-cost blue white 2/3 human artificer legendary creature, because duh, and artifact creatures you control get +2/+2, because duh, and then pay 6, create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control. Oh, I didn't know this was the Clone Wars, except it's a 1/1 soldier creature in addition to its other types. Okay, that costs 6, it's colorless. It's that frog cloner card that can barely even get to work in my cloner deck. I mean, yeah, you can do it right with ETB and stuff and tribals and like stuff that's a 0/0 with a boost, but it's so narrow. But it's supposed to be a long shot, just like Mishra, you know? Next up, we got Titania, Voice of Gaia. Why is that blue? So it's a 3-cost double green 3/4 legendary creature eternal with reach. And whenever one or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, you gain 2 life, and then in blue for some reason, don't know if the card really looks like that, or if they just got out their cursor and drew the card with HTML5. I literally do not have an idea what's going on with this, and I don't have the time or interest to watch whatever video WotC put out. So at the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 4 or more land cards in your graveyard, and you both own and control Titania, Voice of Gaia, and a land named Argoth, Sanctum of Nature, exile them, then meld them into Titania, Gaia Incarnate. Oh god. So here's Meldy Girl. Legendary creature, elemental avatar. Vigilance, reach, trample, haste, because of course, I mean, it's pretty hard to get her out, let's just be real here. But her power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control, which I think there's like a 4-cost that does that now, but sure. Whenever Titania enters the battlefield, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, which there can't possibly be that many there, but sure. I mean, Evolving Wilds or something, whatever. But then we've got pay 4, put 4 1/1 counters on target land you control. It becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with haste. It's still a land. This is kind of disappointing for a meld card, honestly. But that's fine, better than being overpowered. I would have given her like Ward 2, maybe Hexproof if you really wanted to be a dick, but then they'd have to take Trample off. Well, Vigilance, Reach, Trample, Haste, I mean, she's alright. So here's the other side, Argoth, Sanctum of Nature. It's a rare land. It enters tapped unless you control a legendary green creature. That's a thing. Taps for green, and then if you pay 4 and tap it, you create a 2/2 green bear creature token, and then mill 3 cards, activate only as a sorcery. That is just weird. Next up, Ashnod's Harvester. It's a 2-cost 3/1 artifact creature construct, and whenever Ashnod's Harvester attacks, exile target card from a graveyard. That is actually really useful, and the flying version of it is even better, but it's blue, so I'm kind of glad they did this, and then it has Unearth 2 to hit him just one more time. That is a very badly needed card. Next up, Urza, Power Stone Prodigy. That's right, they've got him at different ages. It's a 3-cost 1/3 legendary creature, Human Artificer, and Vigilance. And if you pay 1 and tap it, draw a card, then discard a card. And then whenever you discard 1 or more artifact cards, create a tapped Power Stone token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Okay, little early game setup, I can see it. Hopefully Teferi goes back in time and just detonates the Power Stone in his face. Urza had it coming. Next up, here's the worm we were promised. It's Phyrexian Flesh Gorger, and it's a mythic, and what is this? Alright, so 7-cost 7/5 prototype. You may cast this spell with different, how about with this mana cost? For this mana cost, would have been how they should phrase that. Anyway, with different mana cost, color, and size, it keeps its abilities and types. So the prototype is 2 black plus 1 generic, and it's a 3/3, and then it still has Menace and Lifelink and Ward. This is just like Overload meets Monstrous. I mean, this ain't new, but it's kind of cool. I mean, early game value, late game value, it keeps you from top decking garbage and losing because of it. Hey. But yeah, it's a 7/5 with Menace and Lifelink. Hello, Ward, pay life equal to Phyrexian Gorger's power to give it Ward. What is the Ward number, then? I assume it gains Ward equal to its power, but they didn't say that. I think it gains Ward 0 is what they wrote on there, so okay. Did a little oopsie on that one, I guess. Next up, Brushland, or as I like to call it, Crapland. Other people call them pain lands, but the real pain is if you look up the value of these right now. 6th, 7th, 9th edition, all hovering between like $5 and $10 for just this card. Yeah, that's gonna hit real low after this comes out. So these were overdue for a reprint, they really were, but they're not good in my opinion. They're barely passable in Modern, where you just desperately need that 1 turn advantage. In Standard, they have next to no place. This'll by itself lose you a draft. Very dangerous, very not good. So yeah, it comes in untapped. You can tap it for colorless, or if you pay a little fee of 1 life, or well, 1 damage to you, there's a slight difference, then 1 green, 1 white, your choice. So not just a shock land where it does 2 on the way in if you want it untapped, otherwise you're good. You can get away clean. You use this for almost anything other than a generic source, you're getting hit. And Arena is going to have trouble calculating the logic on this. That's really the biggest mistake if you think about it. So yeah, Underground River, okay, cool. Land of War Waste, all right. Battlefield Forge, I think that's the least expensive. I guess I didn't feel like showing the rest of them because we're going straight to Goblin Charbelcher. Okay. Which, that's a famous card. So this is one of those, like, what the hell they call them? Do I even care? No joke, I checked all 3 articles. They didn't reiterate what this is. I think it's called, like, whatever. It's a special trim. It's a showcase frame. They gave it some fancy name. Whatever. It's just masterpieces. Let's call it what it is. That's what it is. So it's 4 cost, very famous artifact. You pay 3, tap it, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. You usually run it in deck with 1 land, by the way. That's the Goblin Charbelcher deck. And it deals damage equal to the number of non-land cards revealed this way to any target. If the revealed land card was a mountain, Goblin Charbelcher deals double that damage instead, which it always is. Put the revealed cards on the bottom of your library in any order, so you blast them for 20 and you just win. And I think that deck was somewhat crippled or banned in Vintage or something like that. I don't know, it was like 1 billion years ago. So interesting that they put it out here in this form, but I like the art style. I just love everything about it. It looks very Morrowind. I'm all about that, but boy, Charbelcher, not a very liked card. Then we got Ornithopter, the famous 0-drop O2. Very broken in artifact affinity, very not useful, but you could pull off some crazy crap with it. Then we got Ashdod's Altar. That's a little bit of money there for sure. And that is all we know for now, although we have seen actually quite a few others. But like I said, I covered them in a spoiler video in the past. But watch for more because this is the tip of the iceberg. We're going to just go on a spoiler rampage. And I am going to go on a rampage when I look at Teferi one more time. So I'll get out of here before I smash my whole computer. WotC, I hope everybody in your design department responsible for that gets fired. And I'll see you guys next time.